Hello everyone, this is Dayanidhi Mahanta, Senior IIT Faculty, Sri Chaitanya IIT Academy. So, now I am going to discuss your 5th September morning shift physics question paper, JEE Main. So, we can start now. So, we will start with question number 1. Here it is given that a hollow spherical shell of outer radius r and inner radius small r it is given. So, it is submerged inside water and the specific gravity of the shell is given 27/8. We need to find inner radius. So, let us do the solution. So, if we make a diagram like this is your spherical shell having inner radius r and outer radius r. This entire thing is completely submerged in water. So, basically as it is in equilibrium, so there has to be a upward force, that is your buoyancy, buoyancy, and there is a downward force, that is your weight. So, just writing Newton's law, upward force is equal to downward force. So, we can get the answer. So, this is your buoyancy, B is equal to mg. You know that weight of displaced liquid is nothing but the entire volume, outer volume, it will depend upon that. So, that is nothing but rho of sphere into 4/3 pi r cube into z. But when we are talking of the weight, we need to consider the volume of the material. So, definitely it is your rho of sphere into 4/3 pi into r cube minus r cube into z. Here it is your rho of water, this is your water because of the buoyancy that we are writing. So, we can write the equation rho of water into r cube is nothing but rho of sphere into r cube minus r cube. So, only variable is r. So, first let us divide it. So, r cube is nothing but rho of sphere by rho of water into r cube minus r cube. So, and what is your, this is your specific gravity, So, that value is given 27/8. So, r cube is equal to 27/8 into r cube minus r cube. So, by cross multiplication we can get it. Here 8 r cube equal to 27 r cube minus 27 small r cube, and you bring this side. So, 27 r cube is equal to 19 r cube. So, r value is nothing but 19 upon 27 whole power 1/3 into r. So, this one is cube. Okay. So, r value, that is why we got it, or we can write 19 power 1/3 divided by 3 into r. So, this is your answer. So, here you can see none of the answer matches, but this is your answer. Here we have a second question. You can see activity of 3 radioactive substances are given as a curve. So, here we have to find the ratio of half-life period of 3 samples or 3 substances A, B, C. So, here we can see the graph, means here it is given a straight line, this one, but you should see here properly. Here it is not your rate, rather ln of r versus time, and this is equation of straight line. So you can write the equation of the straight line. So it is y is equal to mx plus c. So we can write it here as ln r equals, what is the slope of this line? Let us say it is equal to 6 by 10 with a negative sign, negative slope. So negative 6 upon 10 into t plus c, y intercept is c. Fine. So, but this one is your ln r, rate. What is the rate? It is given. Rate is nothing but activity of the radioactive sample. So basically r value is how much? It is equal to negative time lambda into n naught, initial number of let us say number of species, e to the power minus lambda t. We have to express in terms of ln r. So take logarithm both side. So we are getting ln r is ln negative lambda n naught plus negative lambda t into ln e. So we need not take the sign of that negative, because we just want to find the magnitude. So keep it as it is. So we are getting, okay. So ln, this one we are not writing, it's positive only. So you write lambda n naught plus, this is, it is minus lambda into t, right. So here this is your ln r. When we are comparing with this given equation, you can see this is your constant, this is constant, and here lambda into t. So basically this slope gives your rate constant. So 6 by 10 is your lambda. When we want to find the ratio of the half life period, so basically T of A half life is to T of half life for B is to T of half life for C. So it will be in the reverse ratio of the lambda. So we can write as reverse slope. So basically 10 by 6 is to, we can write what is the slope for reciprocal of the slope. You can see it is 5 by 6, and for this one the reverse of reciprocal of the slope, it is your 5 upon 2. This value is nothing but we can write as 2 is to 1 is to 1 divided by this one value, we can write 3, 3, and this is your 1. So multiplying 3 everywhere, we are getting 2 is to 3 is to, sorry, 2 is to 1 is to 3. So this is your first answer. So now coming to question number 3. 3 different processes that can occur in ideal monoatomic gas are shown in diagram. It's a monoatomic gas and 3 different processes are given. So the paths are AB, you can see it is AB, this one A to B, AC, and it is AD, right. So the change in internal energy during the process is given. For each process, change in internal energy is given, and work done in each process is given. The correct relation between these parameters we want to find. What is the relation? So you can see that in this it is looking straight, but actually the diagram is like this. So these are your 2 isothermal lines, and Here the temperature given is T1, here the temperature given is T2, right, and T1 is greater than T2. So, one process is your A to B, that you can see, this is A to B. So, now other process is A to C, which is straight, and the other process is somehow bent like this, it is like this. This one is your B, this one is your C, this one is D. So, this is the process. We can put the arrow like this. So, now you can see, what about the change in internal energy? Change in internal energy depends only upon the temperature difference. So, here the temperature difference is fixed, that is T1 minus T2, that is same. So, definitely we have to check which option it is given that all internal energy change is same. So, this is we can see, yes. So, this is the first option directly, even without looking into the other options you can do it, but further if you want to see, we can see it. Work done by AB, A to B, this is definitely positive, because this is your PV graph, volume is increasing. So, work done is positive, and coming out to be work done in AC. So, definitely area under the curve AC is 0. So, this is 0, and work done in AD is negative definitely. So, this is volume is decreasing. So, because it is like this, volume is decreasing. So, we are having the answer as first. Yes, let us go to question number 4. So, a bullet of mass 5 gram traveling with a speed 210 meter per second. It strikes a fixed wooden target. One half its kinetic energy is converted into heat. So, okay, and other half, one half is converted into heat of the bullet, and other half is converted into heat of the wood. So, rise of temperature of the bullet if specific heat of the material is given this. So, basically we can write here, the question is, let us say this is fixed wooden target. Something here. So, now a bullet is moving with a velocity v. Once it is getting embedded into it, its entire energy is kinetic energy is lost, and it is converted into heat, but 50% of the kinetic energy is converted into heat of the bullet. So, we will write it. So, half mv square is the amount of energy that is converting into heat of the bullet, and it is given that specific heat of the material of the bullet is given, and we know the formula, heat supplied is equal to mass into specific heat into rise of temperature. So, we can write m into specific heat into rise of temperature. So, this one is getting cancelled. So, we can write V square upon 4 is equal to specific heat into rise of temperature. So, rise of temperature is nothing but V square upon 4s. Velocity is given 210 meter per second, and you are given specific heat capacity. So, that is S value. S value is given as 0.03 calorie per gram. So, if you try to convert into SI unit, S value will be equal to 0.03 into 4.2 joules, and when we are calculating for kilogram, so we have to multiply 1000. So, unit is joule per kilogram. Once you put this value, velocity already given, we get the answer as 87.5. This one you will get the answer. So, now we will go to question number 5. Here it is given that two capacitors of capacitance C and 2C are charged to potential V and 2V. Two capacitors are charged to potential V and 2V. So, these are then connected in parallel in such a manner that positive terminal of one is connected to negative terminal of one, negative terminal of the other. What is the final energy of this configuration? Fine. So, it is like, let us say this is one capacitor. Fine. Here, what is the total charge? C into V, and there is one more capacitor. Here, what is the charge? This is your 2C into 2V, C into V. So, it will be 2C into V. So, that is 2C into 2V. So, value is 4CV. But here one positive terminal and one negative terminals are connected. So, basically what is the net charge? We will get plus 4CV minus CV. So, we are getting 3CV. This is the net charge of the system. Net charge of system. Now, let us say this is the capacitance having 2C, here it is C. Let the amount of charge, here it is Q, after connection definitely, and here the remaining charge, total charge is 3CV, and here the charge present is 3CV minus Q, 3CV minus Q. So, we will put a negative sign here. So, they are parallel. So, we can write the voltage to be same. So, here what is the new voltage or VDAS, whatever you can write. So, that is 3CV minus Q divided by C, which is equal to Q upon 2C, Q upon 2C. So, just by cross multiplication. So, we are getting 2 into 3 CV minus Q is equal to, so this one is cancelled already, that is equal to Q. So, 6 CV minus 2 Q is equal to Q. So, 6 CV is equal to, we are getting 3 Q. So, Q value is equal to, we are getting 2 CV, right. One capacitor we are having like 2 CV and other is 3 CV minus Q. So, we are getting CV. So, final charge we are getting this capacitor C having a charge, this one CV, and 2C it is having a charge 2 CV. Fine. So, final energy is nothing but half into C, or simply we can write E is equal to this one, you need not write. So, this one is equal to Q square by 2C, CV whole square divided by 2C plus 2CV whole square divided by 2 into 2C. So, final calculations we are getting, it is CV square taking common, we are getting half plus this one is 4, this one is 4 plus 1. So, we are getting 3 by 2 CV square. So, this is your answer. So, let us start question number 6. Helicopter rises from rest on ground. It moves vertically upward with constant acceleration g. A food packet is dropped from the helicopter when it is at a height h. What is the time taken by the food packet to come from height h to ground? So, this is a projectile motion question, vertical projectile. So, this is ground, let us say this is your helicopter. It started here and it has reached here. This height is h. So, definitely this helicopter will have a velocity. It started with 0 velocity. By the time it reaches here, let the velocity is v is equal to root over of 2gh. So, now when the food packet is falling, definitely it is having the same velocity as that of helicopter. So, its motion will be kind of, it will go up and it will come down. So, let us take this to be origin. Upward is positive and downward is negative. So, basically we can write s is equal to ut plus half at square, that formula we know. So, that is y is equal to Vt minus half Gt square, and y value will write it to be negative h, because this is the origin we are taking. So, negative h equals Vt minus half Gt square, right. So, you can put it here, g by 2 t square, then minus Vt minus h equal to 0. Then what is t? T is nothing but minus b, that is your minus of minus v, minus b plus minus root over of b square minus 4ac, that is 4 into z by 2 into h by 2a, 2 into z by 2, right. So, t value we can write it here. T value is nothing but your v, we have to take the plus sign only, no negative time, we have to take the plus. So, basically v plus root over of v square plus 2gh divided by g. So, just put the values. V value is how much we are getting, root over of 2gh, 2gh plus v square is again we are having 2gh, 2gh plus 2gh divided by g. So, that is nothing but root over of gh by g into root 2 plus root over of 4. So, that is root over of root over of h upon g into, this is your 3.4, that you can say. So, we are getting the answer as first one is your right answer. So, here you can see in a resonance tube experiment, when tube is filled from bottom with water up to a height 17 centimeters from bottom, it resonates with given tuning fork. So, it is that water up to a height 17 centimeter, okay. It is having resonance. When level is raised to next resonance with same tuning fork at a height 24.5 centimeter, fine. So, basically if the length of sound is, what is this, if the velocity of sound is 330 meter per second, the tuning fork frequency we need to find. Okay. So, basically so let us make two diagrams out here. Let us say water is filled up to certain height, it is writing some 17 centimeter, and let the open length is L. So, definitely, so there is your standing wave, this one. So, we know what is the frequency formula. So, frequency is nothing but it is your, let us say it is n times V divided by 4 into L plus, let us consider the end correction to be delta L. Is it clear? So, now when the height is more, let us make other diagram. Water level height is more, this is from a base. In that case, the diagram will look like it is with a more height, let us say till here, and this height is, it is given as something 24.5. So, now again, so there is standing wave. So, the further we can see that this is 17 and this is 24.5. So, what is the rise? 7.5. So, this length is nothing but L minus 7.5. So, now again we are using the same tuning fork. So, this one is nothing but as this length is decreasing, so this frequency will be decreasing, and we know that we will be having all odd multiples. So, we will write here it is n minus 2 into V divided by 4 L minus 7.5 plus delta L, right. So, you can write it here now. See, it is L plus delta L is equal to N V upon 4 times nu, and second case we can write L minus 7.5 plus delta L is nothing but n minus 2 into V divided by 4 nu. So, you subtract these two equations. So, we are getting, when we are subtracting, you can see 7.5 is equal to okay. So, that is 2V divided by 4 nu. So, that is V by 2 nu. So, what we are supposed to find? We are supposed to find the frequency. So, that is your 7.5 and nu is nothing but, so V divided by 2 into 7.5. This one is centimeter. So, if you convert it to meter, so you have to multiply, here this is your centimeter. So, you have to multiply 100 and V value we are getting, what is the value? V is 330. So, you put it 330 into 100 divided by 15. Once we are doing, you get the answer 2200. So, this is your 2200. So, here we are with the answer, question 3. So, let us move to this question number 8. So, it is, assume that displacement is proportional to pressure difference created by sound wave. So, it is asking for basically S, and this is your increase of the pressure. Displacement further depend upon speed of the sound. Also it depend upon the density of the air, frequency it is given, and the values are given your okay. So this is your density, you should keep it, make it clear, this is your density, and this value is, velocity is not 30, rather 300 meter per second. So now frequency is your 1000 hertz. What will be the order of the multiplicative constant? Okay, take multiplicative constant to be 1, right. So basically we know the formula, that is pressure amplitude is nothing but B into K into S naught. This is your displacement amplitude. So we can write pressure at any instant, this is the amplitude, let us write, can be written as B into K into S, fine, and this is B is equal to K value, how much you are getting, omega upon V into S. So this is your pressure, we know the formula. We want S value, right. S value how much we will get? S is nothing but delta P into V divided by V omega. And what is the bulk modulus? Bulk modulus is nothing but rho V square, because we know the formula. So bulk modulus is okay, or rho into V square, because this came from the formula V is equal to B upon rho root over. So you put it here. So that is delta P into V divided by rho V square into omega, fine. So basically delta P value it is given, it is a 10 Pascal. So just write 10 and okay, fine, this is 10 and this one V is cancelled. So simply we can write divided by rho into V into omega. Rho is 1, density is given. So 10 divided by, here it is 300, it cannot be 30, it is 300 only. So this is your, this is 1 into 300 into omega. So that is 2 pi into what is the frequency? It is your 1000. But you know that all answers given in millimeter, so you can multiply 1000. So we are getting, and if you try to neglect this constant, maybe it is will be order, it is asking that 2 pi if you are just trying to neglect. So we are getting something 1 by 30 mm. Here also this question also none of the answer matches. So you need not worry. So this is your answer. Here it is given that an electrical power line, means it is talking of a transmission line having total resistance 2 ohm, delivers 1 kilowatt. This is the power 1 kilowatt and 220 voltage. At 220 voltage, the efficiency of transmission. What do you mean by efficiency? So that we can see, as the name suggests, it is supplying certain power, but there is certain loss, right. So basically when we are writing this, what is the power? Power it is given as, let us say P only, let us write, it is your 1000 watt, and voltage E value is, let us say 220 volt. Then in this transmission line, let us say what will be the current? Current is nothing but power is E into I, right. So you write this is your 1000 equal to 220 into I. So, I value is we are getting 1000 by 220. So, what is the loss? Loss is in the resistance. Loss is nothing but I square into R. I square into R. So, that is we are getting 1000. So, by 220 square into 2. So, this is the loss. Okay. So, now the question is what is the efficiency? Efficiency is, this is the power loss. Okay. So, loss means it is the unit, it is power only. So, basically efficiency is eta is nothing but what is the power intended to supply? 1000. So, 1000 minus loss divided by 1000. So, this is your efficiency. So, we have to multiply 100. By calculating, we will get nearly 96. So, this is your answer, 96%. So, now you can see a solid sphere of radius r carries charge q, capital Q plus some small q. It is uniformly distributed. So, small point mass gets detached from the bottom and it is falling under gravity. So, it is having a charge plus q. This part you can see it is falling. So, basically, so now if it is acquiring a speed v when it is fallen through a vertical height y, so we have to find what is acquiring the speed this. We just need to find the relations, nothing we have to find, we just have to find the relations. So, you can see over here, you can think most probably this is fixed definitely, and this total charge was q plus q. So, let us say this is the radius, and when it has fallen to a height, let us say this one is y, then definitely in this system total energy will be conserved. So, here when it was initially it was here, it is having some potential energy, it do not have kinetic energy, but when it is here it is having a velocity v. So, we just need to write total energy at this point will be equal to total energy at this point. So, let us say gravitational potential energy is 0 here. So, definitely it is a lower point. So, minus mgy. So, you can write here the gravitational potential energy is 0 and electric potential energy is 1 by 4 pi epsilon q into q divided by r, which equals at this point it is having kinetic energy, and potential energy is minus mgy. You can write minus mgy plus what is the potential energy here? So, it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon product of the charge q into q divided by what is the distance now? From center you need to take the distance. So, that is r plus y plus kinetic energy is half mv square, right. So, basically, so this one how much we are getting, we need to find v square. So, you take it on this side. So, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q into q common. So, what is left? 1 by r minus 1 by r plus y plus mgy is equal to half mv square. So, we need to find v square. So, this one will get q by 4 pi epsilon naught. This one is y divided by r into r plus y plus mgy is equal to half mv square. So, y is there, 2 has to be there, 2y, and it has to be q, okay, 2 is multiplied over here plus z. So, out of this, so this is third easier answer. Now, start question number 11. So, with increasing biasing voltage of a photodiode, the photocurrent magnitude. Okay. So, first of all, this is a theoretical question on photodiode, you know, which is based on like in depletion layer. So, we are, so let us say this is photodiode, let us say this is here we are putting some biasing like this, fine, and here light rays are falling, fine, EM waves. So, now we know that maximum current, it depends upon the rate of generation of your electron hole pair. So, basically, and that depends only upon the intensity of the light we are putting. It is a photodiode. The current depends upon the what kind of amount of light we are putting. So, finally, it has to be a saturation current, that has to be a fixed current. So, it will increase with the biasing and finally, it will saturate finally. So, this is the correct answer. So, now we can see this question. So, it is a question based on your conservation of momentum. So, every time you will be getting some question on rotation, okay, mostly we are getting. A wheel is rotating freely with angular velocity omega on a shaft. The moment of inertia of the wheel is I, moment of inertia of the shaft is negligible. So, another wheel of moment of inertia 3I initially rests suddenly coupled to the same, the resultant frictional loss in kinetic energy of the system, right. So, basically let us say this is a shaft for easier purpose. Let us say one disc wheel, in fact, let us say something, this is a wheel, it is rotating with angular velocity omega, maybe let us say it is a horizontal frictionless platform. So, now we are putting one more wheel, its moment of inertia is 3I, right. So, basically when we are putting one more wheel, what happens basically? It is having 0 angular velocity, omega is 0, but soon it will make this moving wheel will make it move and this one will slow down. So, due to this friction there is loss of energy, okay. But simply we need not worry about that. Net external torque on the system is 0. So, momentum of the system is conserved. So, initial what is the angular momentum? Angular momentum of the system is conserved. So, initial angular momentum is I into omega. So, now total moment of inertia is getting 4I. So, 4I into omega dash. So, this is a new angular velocity. So, omega dash is nothing but omega upon 4. So, now question is the resultant fractional loss in kinetic energy of the system. So, that is nothing but loss divided by initial kinetic energy, initial kinetic energy. So, that is your, so what is the final kinetic energy we are getting? K final is nothing but half into 4I omega dash whole square. Omega dash value we can put it, so that is omega upon 4. So, that is your half into 4I K final into you are getting omega square upon 16. So, that is nothing but half I omega square divided by 4. So, this is okay. So, loss is how much? Initial kinetic energy half I omega square minus final, this is your final, half I omega square by 4 divided by half I omega square. So, half is common, omega square everything common. So, what we are left with? 1 minus 1 by 4 by 1. So, this is 3 by 4, either S, this is also 3 by 4 is your right answer. So, it is some kind of graph is given. It is for a concave lens, focal length f, the relation between object and image is u and b. Okay. These are the distances it is given, u and v. Generally, we are getting coordinates, but it is distance from the pole. So, which is the best represented graph? That is what it is telling. So, basically, we know the equation 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f. So, what is f? Focal length, this is for concave. So, concave means we can take it to be negative. So, now the graph, if you want to plot the graph, how it will be? So, the graph is, this is your origin, and let us say so definitely this is your two asymptotes, we get it, and you know the graph comes like this and like this. This is the graph. So, this is your origin. So, x axis is u and this one is v. This, what does this graph says? It is a graph with a proper side, but it is talking of the distances only. So, but you can see this is, here it is origin, here it is origin, and it has shown a small part of the entire graph, only the distances. So, this one is u, this one is v, this one is v, and this one it is given with a positive side. So, definitely you can see the graph will come out to be, out of all this you can see this one we are getting, this is approaching, this is approaching, but only difference is we need to check with this u into v whether this one is crossing or not. So, basically when we are trying to put a slope over here, so this is your slope, right. So, what is the slope? If you just try to differentiate this graph, minus 1 by v square dv upon du plus 1 by u square is equal to 0. So dV upon du is nothing but we are getting v square upon u square. Okay. So this is your slope. So that is v by u. So that is, okay, this is your magnification square. So that is nothing but we can write f upon f plus u whole square. So basically for any other point definitely slope is less than 1. So there is no question of intersection like this. It has to be separately, there is no question of intersection. So definitely we got this kind of graph, and we know that this is not going to intersect, because here all other points slope will be less than 1. So this is your right answer. So now let us start question number 14. So number of molecules in a volume is given, number of molecules in a volume 4 centimeter cube of a perfect monoatomic gas at some pressure is T. Okay. At some temperature T, at pressure 2 centimeter of mercury is close to how much, right? So basically we can apply here PV is equal to nRT. So that is N divided by Na, number of moles, into R into T. So which we can write it as N into R by Na into T. So this is pressure into volume, right? So this one is N into K into T, N into K into T. But it is given that the average kinetic energy is given as this 4 into 10 to the power minus 4. So average kinetic energy for monoatomic gas, what is the formula? So let us say this is your E average. E is equal to 3 by 2 K into T, right? So K2 value is how much? 2 by 3 into E. So put it here. So if you put it here, we are getting pressure into volume is equal to pressure into volume equal to N into 2 by 3 E, 2 by 3 E, and number of molecules is nothing but N we can write as 3 by 2 pressure volume divided by E. So everything is given. So pressure you can convert into, pressure is how much? Density it is, we can write 13.6 into 10 to the power 3 into 9.8 rho g into what is the height? Height is given 2 centimeter of mercury, 0.02. Volume it is given 4 centimeter cube. So that is 4 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter cube. Then okay, energy already we got it, that you convert into, energy is 4 into 10 to the power minus 14 into 10 to the power minus 7 joules. Once you put these values, everything known, so we get the answer. Question number, it will be option 3. So now let us start question number 15. A square loop of side 2A and carrying current I is kept in xz plane with its center at origin. Okay. So a long wire carrying same current is placed parallel to z axis and passing through the point 0, B, 0. B is much greater than A. So, what is the magnitude of torque on the loop about Z axis? Fine. So, we can see here this is let us say this is your XYZ plane. So, this is X, this is Y, this is your Z plane. So, now, let us say a square loop of side 2A carrying current I placed in XZ plane. So, length of the side is given as twice A. So, it's like this, right? And here a current carrying wire is passing like this. Here it is current is I. So, both we are having same current here. Then definitely what is the dipole moment of this one? So, that is dipole moment is current into area. So, length of the side is twice A. So, the area is twice A whole square. So, this is your dipole moment vector. Here it is given that B is much greater than A. So, basically the distance is B, here to here distance is B, you know. So, what is the magnetic field? B is nothing but mu naught I divided by what is the distance? Twice pi into B. Now, the question is what is the torque about Z axis? So, torque is nothing but you know the formula mu cross B. Mu direction is let us say y and magnetic field will be along x. Let us say mu direction we are making it let us say minus j cross B direction it is your I. So, that is along k, already it is along z axis and the magnitude is definitely mu into B sin 90. So, that is mu into B. So, mu value I into 2A square. So, I into 2A whole square into mu naught I upon 2 pi B upon twice pi B. So, how much you are getting? Mu naught I A square by pi B. So, this is your torque. So, 2 mu naught I square is there definitely, it is I square A square by pi B. So, this is your answer, option A. Here it is given that a galvanometer of resistance G is converted into voltmeter whose range is 0 to 1 volt by connecting resistance R1. What is the additional resistance that should be connected in series with R1 to increase the range 0 to 2? So, basically here this is your galvanometer and here resistance R1 is connected. So, we are getting the range 0 to 1 volt. Let the maximum current of the galvanometer is fixed, you know. So, Ig into Z plus R1 is equal to 1 volt. So, now what we are doing? We are putting additional resistance. This is R1 and additionally we are putting let us say some X, but the current remains same. This is your Ig. So, now this is your equation 1. So, Ig into Z plus R1 plus X is equal to 2 volt. So, just divide the equations now. So, we are getting z plus r1 plus x divided by, this is your equation 2, divided by z plus r1 is equal to 2. So, 1 plus x divided by z plus r1 is equal to 2. So, x divided by z plus r1 is equal to 1. So, x is z plus r1. So, this is your answer, fourth option. So, now let us proceed to question number 17. So, a balloon is moving in air vertically above a point on ground. When it is at a height h1, okay, this is the point above which it is moving in this direction, right. When it is at a height h1, a girl standing at a distance d sees at an angle 45 degree. So, when the balloon climbs up further height h2, it is seen at an angle 60 degree. Wait, fine, this 60 degree, this angle is with this. Okay. With respect to the vertical, if the girl moves further 2.646, here to here the girl is moving 2.464 d, then what is the height h2, that is it is asking. So, it is simple, as it is 45, you can say this is also 45, and if this is d, this h1 is also d only, that we can understand. So, we apply, if this is your 60 degree, this one will be 30 degree. So, what is the value of tan 30? Tan 30 is nothing but d plus h2, d plus h2 divided by d plus 2.464 d, 2.464 d. So, tan 30 value we will put it 0.5774. So, 0.5774 is equal to d plus h2 divided by d, how much you are getting, 3.464. So, h2 is nothing but .5774 into 3.464 into d minus d. So, just by multiplication h2 value can be calculated, and if you just calculate we will get it to be d. So, this is your answer. So, now question number 18, an electron is constrained to move along a y axis with a speed 0.1 c, c is the speed of light, in presence of electronic wave, it is electromagnetic wave. Electric field is given by this formula. What is the maximum magnetic force experienced by the electron? Okay, fine. So, basically we can see electric field is like this. Okay. And in electromagnetic wave we know that if this is your electric field, this will be your magnetic field, and the relation is E is equal to B into C, or B value we can calculate, B is equal to E by C, right. And what is the maximum value of electric field? It is given 30, right. So, 30 divided by C. So, this one we got the electric field 30 divided by C and the direction is k cap, or simply we can write 30 divided by C k cap, right. So, now electron is constrained to move along y axis. So, electron this is constrained to move along y axis with a speed also v value is given as 0.1 c. So, what is the magnetic force formula? So, we will put a negative sign because of the electron, E into V cross B. So, that value is okay, negative. So, V direction is given as your j cap, this one is given as k cap. So, j cross k. So, with a minus sign, then that is we are getting k cross j. So, it is E V into B and the direction is minus, this is I cap. So, this is the direction. So, magnitude part is nothing but E into V into B. So, that we need to calculate. E value is 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 into velocity, it is given as 0.1 c into this B value is 30 upon c. These two are getting cancelled. So, we are getting okay. So, 16 into 3, so we 48, this one is into 0.1 into 10 to the power minus 19. So, that is 4.8 10 to the power minus 19. So, we are getting 4.8 10 to the power minus 19 Newton. So, this is the answer. So, option 1 will be the answer. So, we will proceed to next question. So, we can proceed to question number 19. So, this is a question based on your error direct question. So, a physical quantity Z depends upon 4 variables A, B, C, D. Z equal to A square B to the power 2 by 3 root over of C dq divided. The percentage of error in measurement is, it is given that for A it is 2%, for B 1.5%, for C 4% and for D 2.5%. What is the percentage error in Z? So, basically we know the general formula, Z is equal to, it is given A square B to the power 2 by 3, then C to the power let us say half, and it is dq. Take logarithm, ln Z is nothing but 2a plus 2 by 3b minus, here it is 2 ln a, here it is 2 by 3 ln b, 2 by 3 ln b, and here it is minus half ln c minus 3 ln d. Differentiate. So, dz upon z equals 2 dA upon a plus 2 by 3 dB upon b minus half dc upon c minus 3 d of d upon d. So, multiply 100 everywhere. So, we can write percentage change in Z is equal to 2 times percentage change in A plus 2 by 3 times percentage change in B minus half times percentage change in C minus 3 times percentage change in D, right. So, when you want the maximum percentage change, either you take all plus or all minus. So, plus, if you are taking, you take all plus. If you are taking minus, you take all minus. This is the procedure. All values are given. All values are given. Just put it. So, you will get as this one, you will get the answer 14.5. So, now question number 20. The value of acceleration due to gravity is at a height h, r by 2, radius of the earth, from the surface of the earth. It is again equal to g1 at depth d below the surface of the earth. What is the ratio of d upon r? Fine. So, this is earth. So, acceleration due to gravity at a height r by 2. So, we have to take a height r by 2. Right. So, g value how much you are getting? We know the general formula. G is equal to, or which is equal to your gravitational field, which is g m e divided by total distance. The total distance, it is your r plus r by 2, r plus r upon 2 whole square, and which is again equal to the field at a depth d. So, you have to take a depth d here, this point, this one is your d. So, from center the distance is nothing but this r minus d, this distance is r minus d, right. And we know the formula, that is field is g m into the distance from the center, that is r minus d upon r cube. This is at 1, this is at 2. We need to just equate it. So, how much you are getting by equating? So, this one is 0.2, let us take, which is your 0.2. So, that is equating. So, g m e divided by r plus r by 2, we are getting 9 by 4 r square, 9 by 4 r square, which is equal to g m mass of the earth divided by r cube into r minus d. So, these are getting cancelled. So, 1 r is left. So, r equal to 9 by 4 r minus d. So, r can be 9 by 4 r minus 9 by 4 d. So, 9 by 4 d equal to 9 by 4 minus 1 into r. So, that is 5 by 4 r. So, that is 9 by 4 d. So, we want d upon r. So, d upon r is nothing but 5 by 9. So, we are getting option 2. Coming to question number 21. Say compound microscope consists of an objective lens and a focal length 1 centimeter. Okay. And an eye piece of focal length 5 centimeter. Okay. And a separation is given as 10 centimeter. So, the distance between object and objective lens at which strain on the eye is minimum. So, what it is trying to tell? It is like you are given, let us say, your objective lens is given, and here you are given your eyepiece. When it is talking of with the minimum strain in eye, then definitely, so let us say here is the object and an image is formed here. Let us say image is formed here. Then afterwards, it has to go to infinites, so that they are going parallel, right. So, then this distances we can find. Here the focal length of eyepiece is given as 1 centimeter, or eyepiece or objective, okay, objective lens is given as 1 centimeter, and eyepiece focal length is, it is given here 5 centimeter. So, definitely this length is here 5 centimeter, right. So, now it is given that separation between the lens is 10 centimeter. So, what is remaining? So, this one also it is here 5 centimeter, because total distance is given as 10 centimeter. So, now distance between object and objective lens, we need to find this. So, applying the formula, basically 1 by x plus 1 by 5 is equal to 1. Okay. The distance between object and objective lens. So, this is how much we are getting. So, 1 by x is nothing but 1 minus 1 by 5. So, 1 by x is here, we are getting 4 by 5. So, x value is how much? 5 by 4. But it is written that x is in terms of n by 40. So, basically multiply, so which is equal to 50 divided by 40, and this one is given as 40 and this one n. So, n value is equal to 50. So, we get the answer n is equal to 50. This is the answer. It's integer type question. So, here it is given that a force I cap plus 2 j cap plus 3 k cap acts on a point 4 I cap 3 j cap minus k cap. Then what magnitude of torque about the point I 2 j k is root over of x. We have to find the value of x. So, what exactly we will do here? So, let us say this is our coordinate system. This point here we can see what is the coordinate 1, 2, 1. About this we have to find the torque. So, and the force is acting at a point, let us say this point is A. Here the coordinate we can write 4, 3, minus 1, 4, 3, minus 1, and force applied is this. F value is equal to I cap plus 2 j cap plus 3 k cap. We know the formula, that is torque is equal to R cross F. So, this is your position vector. So, R value we can find it 4 minus 1 3 I cap and 3 minus 2 plus j cap and minus 1 minus 2 k cap. So, just we have to do the cross product. So, that is here 3 I cap plus j cap minus 2 k cap cross the force is I 2 j 3 k. So, I cap plus 2 j cap plus 3 k cap. So, by determinant method we can find I j k. So, you write 3 1 minus 2 and this one is 1 2 3 mod, just we need to find. So, we are talking of magnitude, then how much we are getting? So, I taking common where I, so 3 minus 4 7 I cap. J means how much we are getting? Minus 2 minus 9. So, minus 11 J cap. K means 6 minus 1. So, that is 5 K cap. We want to find the magnitude. So, that is nothing but root over of 7 square plus 11 square plus 5 square. So, that you can calculate 49 plus 121 plus 25. So, that is how much we are getting. So, 170, this one 50 plus 70 plus 25. So, that is we are getting root over of 195. So, it is asking what is x value? X value is 195. So, let us proceed to question number 23. So, a particle of mass 200 mega electron volt per coulomb square, okay, collides with a hydrogen atom at rest. Soon after the collision, the particle comes to rest. Okay, fine. So, the atom recoils and goes to its first excited state. The initial kinetic energy is n by 4. We have to write in electron volt, right. So, what is the value of n? Okay. So, what is the situation? So, you are given a particle, right. So, it is moving with certain velocity, it is having mass is given, okay. So, now let the mass of the particle is m naught. So, now it is colliding with a hydrogen and definitely we are having electron, one electron. So, after collision what happens? This particle is stopping here and this one is moving and this one goes to one higher level. This is going to a first excited state electron, right. It has done a transition from here to here. So, definitely this kinetic energy whatever it is having, it is shared by the kinetic energy of hydrogen because it is getting rest finally and energy for excitation, right. So, basically let the momentum is p, let momentum of system is p, of system is p. So, after collision also it remains p only because and the momentum of hydrogen become p, right. So, what is the initial kinetic energy? P square by 2 m naught. So, p naught square p square by 2 m naught is the initial kinetic energy of this one. So, definitely that is equal to, we know that the energy required, energy difference between ground state and first excited state is 10.2 electron volt. So, that is equal to 10.2 electron volt plus what is the kinetic energy of hydrogen atom? So, that is p square upon twice m h, fine. So, it is asking what is the initial kinetic energy of the particle. So, you take it to one side. So, p square upon twice m naught minus p square upon twice m h. So, that is equal to 10.2 electron volt. So, p square upon twice m naught, if I take common 1 minus m naught by m h. So, that is giving 10.2 electron volt. We want to find this. So, m naught upon m h, how much we are getting? So, mass is given as 200 mega electron volt C square, and mass of hydrogen it is 1 giga electron volt. So, that is 200, this is 1000. So, we can write P square by 2 m naught is nothing but 1 minus 200 by 1000. So, that is equal to 10.2 electron volt. So, P square by 2 m naught is nothing but this is your 1 by 5. So, 4 by 5. So, we are getting to be 10.2 into 5 upon 4. So, but it is you have to do 10.2 into 5 divided by 4. So, this value it is asking n by 4. We have to find n. So, that is how much you are getting? 51. So, your answer is n is equal to 51. Yes. We need to proceed. Next question. So, a beam of electrons of energy E scattered from target having atomic spacing 1 Armstrong. Okay. The first maximum intensity is at 60 degree, theta is equal to 60 degree, then what is the energy? Okay, fine. So, all the values are given, H value given, 1 electron volt, mass, everything is given. So, here basically let us say these are two spacings, that value is given as d. So, now electron we can consider to be a wave, then only we are getting maximum minimum. So, basically this is, let us say it is going like this, then it is going like this further. So, now just simply we have to consider it to be a wave like this, like this. This theta is definitely your glancing angle, that theta. So, this one is given as d. So, what is the part difference? If this is your theta, so this is your theta. So, this is your this plus this, that is 2d sin theta is the part difference, sin theta, right. So, theta is given as 60 degree, and for it is, this is equal to, we will write it as lambda. So, lambda is equal to twice d sin theta. So, lambda is nothing but h by p, momentum. So, energy is how much it is given, h by p. So, we can put it here. So, h upon p is equal to 2d sin theta. So, p value we can get it to be h by 2d sin theta. And you know that p can be written as root over of twice m into energy. So, that is equal to h by 2d sin theta. So, energy we can calculate. So, that is h by 2d sin theta whole square divided by 1 by 2m. So, this is all the values are given. So, by putting it we will get the value E to be 50 electron volt. So, this is your answer. Last question, question number 25. Two concentric circular coils C1 C2 are placed in xy plane C1 has 200 turns and radius 1 centimeter. C2 has 200 turns, radius 20 centimeter. C2 carries time dependent current, so that is 5t square minus 2t plus 3, where t is in second. What is the EMF induced in millivolt at the instant 1 second? 4 by x, you have to calculate the value of x. So, let us say this is your C2. Here the radius is R2, R2 is given as 20 centimeter, so it is 0.2 meter. Number of turns is N2. So, magnetic field B is nothing but mu naught I divided by twice R2 over the coil which is having a smaller radius R1 and R. Okay. So, R1 is given and number of turns here it is N1, both are equal, right. So, magnetic field is here mu naught I upon 2 R2 for each turn. So, there are N2 turns, so into N2. So, flux is nothing but B into pi R1 square into how many turns are there? Here it is R1 N1, right. So, now you put the value. So, that is equal to phi is equal to mu naught I N2 by twice R2 pi R1 square N1 . So, flux is mu naught N1 N2 divided by twice R2 pi R1 square into I. So, definitely induced EMF magnitude is d phi by dt. So, d phi upon dt, which will get mu naught N1 N2 pi R1 square divided by twice R2 into di upon dt. This is your induced EMF. So, di upon dt is how much? 10t minus 2. So, mu naught N1 N2 pi R1 square by twice R2 into 10t minus 2. All the values are given. All the values are given, but we have to find in millivolt. So, A whatever we are getting. So, we will this one E induced we have to convert into millivolt, and once you are converted into millivolt, so that will be written as 4 by x. This is in millivolt, MV, right, and x will be coming approximately 5. So, that is how your like this discussion is concluded. So, thank you all. Thanks for watching physics paper discussions. So, we are proud that in last JEE Main January session, out of 900 percentile students throughout India, 4 are only from Sri Chaitanya IIT Academy, and we are also expecting a very good result this time also, and we are starting our fresh batches for +1, +2 and long term in the recent months. If anyone is interested, one can contact our nearest Sri Chaitanya branch, and if anyone comes to Sri Chaitanya branch, we are expecting a bright future for him. So, thank you all. Thank you very much again for watching the physics paper discussion. Thank you all.